street is. Testing every facet of racing, round 10 takes us to Silverstone, and it is going to be a fun race tonight. A shorter field, so I think we're going to have a lot of competitive racing. But Jordan, I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yep, Frozen, it should be very interesting tonight. We'll have a very, very tiny field, and it's a bunch of drivers that are typically on top of each other in terms of speed. And as we say that, we have Ferrari Nut enter the fray. So this will be a definite interesting race. We'll see how it plays out.
We will indeed. And, last week we saw Ferrari Nut as a 5-time winner this season. He won at Austria, Canada, Imola, Miami, and Japan. So I don't know if anyone's going to be able to give competition to the lead tonight, but we're about to find out. But Ferrari did just enter for qualifying. We'll see how he does, but I can tell you the competition and the times between these other drivers have been so incredibly close. As we say every week, I think these guys are going to be on top of each other, and the battles are just going to be amazing. Sober David is in chat saying dry qualifying and a dry race. So no rain tonight. That's good news for a lot of drivers, but I know a couple are saying, I'm ready for the rain. I feel better out there with those tires and with the rain. So I think they're a little disappointed in this. But Jordan, take us through about this track where we might see some trouble spots out here.
Well, they're really only places where you could have trouble driving by yourself are through the final little chicane. There's some turtles on each side, especially into the left-hander that begins the chicane right before the final corner. That can be pretty difficult to get through, make good lap time, and also if you hit those corners, it can upset the car and cause you to lose it. The S's, which are all named ridiculous things, they could be pretty fun to drive. Not really a problem spot. They can be an easy spot to drive or overdrive because they do take a hefty amount of commitment to make a good lap time through. But going into the corner on the old pit straight before they reconfigured the racetrack, that could be an interesting spot to maybe see some passes. It's a really difficult place to make a pass, a really difficult place to make it through side by side. We'll see if any of these drivers who are likely going to be on top of each other are going to have to navigate that wheel to wheel during the race.
Yeah, we do still have quite a bit of a challenge with the traction control. A couple of drivers trying to get used to that, going on no traction control. So that's still going to be a thing moving on in these final races of the season. Sober David out there with a 129.114, a great time. I want to see what the tires that these guys are using. All are on softs. Currently, Scarface had some fast times out there in practice along with MJ, Gale. But again, all of these guys were on top of each other. Now with driver standings, Ferrari Nut, he is in the lead. He's got 180 points. Z46, though, he is unable to show tonight. He is in second with 144, and that gap is going to increase with him not showing up tonight. Also, his teammate, Polish Hammer, unable to show tonight. He's currently third in points with 122. Jacob X99 has 97 points, sitting fourth. Scarface is in fifth with 82 points, and Leaf Justin has is in sixth with 81 points. Gale Force, he joined late in the season. However, he's got 65 points, sitting P7 with Sober David, 8th with 48 points. Constructor standings, Williams up there. They have a huge gap between them and second place. They have 276 points, with Kick in second with 181 points. McLaren is sitting in third with 178, with RB being in fourth, 93 points. And Red Bull going to round out the top 5 in constructor standings with 82 points. Couple of drivers on the board. Framinut goes to the top with a 128.4. MJ Seals a 128.9. Sober David 129.1. And Jacob a 129.3. So times are very close, very similar. But Framinut does have about 5/10 on second. Mike, I see you out there. I hope you're doing well. Evan, hello. I hope you are doing well also. Silverstone is going to be a difficult track. I think it's going to test these drivers for sure. Gale Force, who left the session earlier, he is back in, so hopefully he can get a lap time down. We still have plenty of time. Also a caution in Sector 3, and I do believe that might be for MJ as he's making his way around Sector 3.
Yeah, just taking it easy, pulling the car to pit road. He's made a couple of laps out there to put him P2, a half second back of Ferrari Nut, and about a half second ahead of fourth, and Jacob, and a 10th ahead of Sober David. So an interesting looking top 4 is the other half of the field has yet to make their lap yet.
Glad to hear you're doing good, Evan. I gotta ask, do you think we're gonna see penalties be an issue tonight?
There's a few places where you can drive over the limit that maybe. I mean, it just depends. I mean, they could be an issue every week, but I'm sure we'll see at least one. I would be crazy not to think so. But I mean, it just kind of depends on how the race goes to get a really good read on it. There's a few places where you can go wide, but there's a hefty amount of grass around the racetrack as well that will kind of prevent that. But there are a few places with some pretty large runoff areas, and you can slip a tire across that you don't need to and get yourself a penalty.
Polish Hammer in chat saying, where's Polish Hammer? I know we talked about you. Where are you? You need to get in here, sir. If you want, I can send you an invite. You're guaranteed a top 10 tonight.
Guaranteed a top 8 right now.
That's true. That is very true. Scarface goes to the top with a 128.0, 4/10 in front of Ferrari Nut, who is currently out there and in the purple, as he is in Sector 3 coming around the last final corners here. We'll see what he can do as he makes his way around to the finish line. What's that smoke behind his car? What he's famous for here. All right, goes to the top, 126.9. Absolutely flying out there, so that's going to put him to the top. Maddie, I see you out there. Thank you so much for the sub. 16 months. How about that? I appreciate it. I think you should be out here too, racing. Thank you, though. I really appreciate it, Maddie. Hope you're doing well. $126.9. I'm kind of curious, is Ferrari not going to be on his own little island, or do you think we'll have someone out here battling for the lead?
It definitely would have been more interesting if he would have decided to start in the back of this race and work his way through, because he has been alongside Z and the Polish Hammer. They've kind of been the big threes so far this season, typically having just that step more pace than the rest of the field. With neither of those two drivers tonight, it does figure that Ferrari Nut would be able to leg out a lead here. But hey, we'll see how the start of the race goes. I think this would be a good weekend for the driver starting second, third, fourth on the grid to be as aggressive as they possibly could to try to take that lead from Ferrari Nut, force him to have to race at the start of this thing, and see if maybe they can force a mistake, because other than that, with the pace he has shown recently, especially with the last few weeks, even with the other drivers in the field with a bit deeper of a field, he has still been pretty much head and shoulders. Well, maybe not head and shoulders, but he has been really good, really fast, and putting up some really good numbers. So, I think this is one of those where you might want to get aggressive with him and see how the cards fall.
We'll see what they do in the race, but right now, I mean, he's got a little over a second ahead of our second place of Scarface. So we'll see. But man, teammates were going side by side out here. That's going to be Leaf Justin and Jacob X99. And we saw quite the battle a couple of weeks ago between the two under extremely loose conditions. Really fun. Watch them go to the line, just bouncing off of each other. We'll see if we have any of that tonight. We do not have any rain and do not expect any. But with these two, anything can happen. And I know there's some technical difficulties with Jacob and the chair he's in tonight. So we'll see if anything happens with that with him tonight.
Yeah, we'll see if there are any chair incidents, some chair uh, malfunctions that happen. Kind of interesting here. Your McLaren teammates, as noted, they're out here kind of together, and uh, you'd think teammates would be the last two to get out in qualifying around each other, but here they are on zero lap tires. So this is pretty much how they must have come out of pit road, and I don't think Justin's getting some good toe down the straightaways, but in the corners he's getting that dirty air that's really going to take away the downforce on his race car. Let's see how they come across the line here. Jacob moves up to third. Justin moves up to third. So
Wow.
that was I guess maybe some good teamwork out of the two of them to work together there.
Yeah, a little bit of leapfrogging and side-by-side action kind of helped each other out. We'll see what they do this time around, but almost going side-by-side again here in qualifying. You think it was for the race. Just under 5 minutes to go here, so just a little bit left of time. Trying to talk Polish into getting out here, but apparently 25 is out, and he is loving the game, and I know a couple of other drivers looking forward to getting their hands on it. We'll see what they think, but yeah, tonight here, Silverstone is going to be 26 laps. It's going to be a fun one. That's what I'd like to hear, Polish. I love the enthusiasm. Let's go. All right. Look how close these times are, Jordan. Pretty much the entire field in the 128. So I do feel like we're going to have some battles out here. It's going to be a fun night. We do have a caution out in qualifying. That's going to be with these two teammates, as you can see him warming up those tires in sector
Justin's about
3.
to knock his wing off here in a minute as he was beating on the rear gearbox of Jacob X99. They're going to have to look at their cars, make sure there isn't a ton of damage to them. Maybe bring Leaf Justin 24 into the hauler, see what the issues he's having with his American teammate. I think the Canadian and the American having some problems. I'm not sure what it might stem from, but just anything. But see what you said, third through seventh separated by 4/10. So we're gonna have a really nice battle there for that final podium spot. Scarface actually looks really good with a 7/10 gap to third place, and then Ferrari Nut on his own little island, a full second ahead of the rest of the field.
Scarface, the only one out currently. You can see him warming his tires up as he is on his out lap. The remainder of the drivers are in pit lane trying to get final adjustments or anything else in before we head out. But hopefully Polish gets in here. I sent him an invite. We'll see if he is able to make it in time. But Ferrari Nut looks to be taking the pole with a 126.9. Scarface going to be out there in second, 128.0. And 6/10 later is going to be Leaf Justin with a 128.6. Jacob with a 128.7. Still time left. We'll see what they can do. But man, the time is winding down quickly.
Yeah, it's getting close to the point. I think about the 2-minute mark is about the last minute you can stay on pit road without coming out. But we still got about 20-30 seconds before we hit that threshold.
Maddie says he's trying to find a setup. I see you out there, Mike. Hope you're doing well. 2 minutes left on the clock, and then it allows anyone who is out to finish that lap. But let me know if you have any predictions. Are we going to see a Ferrari nut win tonight? If we can get Polish Hammer in, will he win, or will we see an entirely new winner? We've had a few different winners. Z46 has 2 wins. Ferrari Nut has 5 wins. Polish has 2 wins.
It looks like Scarface is abandoning this lap. He's really slowed it down. He's trying to harvest a little energy. I think he's going to go for his second lap here. Hopefully he has the fuel for that. And we'll see what happens here. But he didn't like the way that lap was going that he was currently on. Pretty much the entire field, actually the entire field, is out on the racetrack right now. So we'll see if anyone can put down a 126 like Ferrari has.
Yeah, you know, if I'm Scarface, I'm pretty happy with what I have, but Leaf Justin is out there, Jacob. Any one of these guys can compete with that, absolutely. So we'll see if Scarface is able to hold on to that. He allowed a couple of drivers to go on by as he's making his way around, but under a minute now. See what happens.
Yeah, this will be the final run for all of these drivers as they work to put down the best lap that they possibly can. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, I'm going to try one more time, Polish. I don't know if you're still on, but we'll see. I know. It's great, Maddie, isn't it? All right. Ferrari Nut looks to be holding on to that. Jacob going out. Scarface holding on to the 128.0 so far.
Across the line here.
He's finished.
No change.
MJ Seals 128.9 going to be the final for him.
And not really seeing any improvement here, which is kind of contradictory to what we have seen so far this season. Usually we see a lot of new times go up on the board, even if they aren't necessarily the best times. There we go. Gale Force improves to third with a second, 1.3 off. Scarface with a nice lap. Ferrari, or no, it's Ferrari that put down a good lap. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, improving that time a little bit. Leaf Justin retired from that situation with him.
Oh, he has crashed.
Unfortunate.
His little dot was well off of the track.
It was. I saw that. I think Troll Justin might have had something to do with that one.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Ferrari Nut on pole with a 126.7. Scarface going to be on that front row, sitting 128.0. Gale Force going to be in third with a 128.2. Leaf Justin in fourth. Jacob is going to be fifth. MJ Seal 6, and Sober David going to round out the field, sitting P7. Small field tonight, guys.
Yeah, this is one race where I think, yeah, we're going to have to see some aggression early. Ferrari's going to have a maybe not his best start, and we're going to have to see Scarface, Gale Force, maybe Leaf Justin have maybe perhaps their best starts of the season, and see what they can do. Hopefully that's what happens. Hopefully there's just mayhem in turn one. Actually, hopefully not. Because then there'll only be like 3 cars on the racetrack, and we don't want to have that.
We don't want that. All right, these guys going to be given a chance to make sure everything is lined up for them, and then we'll head on over to our formation lap and then start for 26 laps here at Silverstone. I think it's going to be a challenge. We've had a couple of guys talking about the final part of Sector 3 being a challenge in some of those curbs, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Lap 1, turn 1 is always an issue. It's always a potential spot to have something happen, so hopefully that will not be the case tonight, but I'm not expecting too many safety cars or penalties. I think it'll be overall a clean race, knock on wood. All right, chat, let me know who is going to win tonight, or better yet, give me the top 3. Give me the podium here. Who are going to be your drivers? I want to see a few new faces in the booth afterwards. That'd be pretty cool.
Only you would have raced, I think. Would have seen you on the podium.
You know, I totally would have just turned the AI on and just let her rip. You don't want me out here on track. I'm a little surprised though, Jordan, that you did not race tonight.
Well, I got no practice. It's, I mean, I didn't want to embarrass everybody. Just
Yeah.
show up cold and finish in 8th.
I was waiting for you to say just
I
put
would have,
everyone
I
behind
would have,
you.
yeah, I would have scored points without even practicing. I just didn't want to embarrass those guys that much. Some of them have been working this week. Some of them have, kind of showed up with a setup that they just threw together or stole from time trial immediately. So, but you know, they still got the full practice session before the race, whereas I didn't. So,
There you go.
I
You don't
would
want to
have,
embarrass anybody.
I would have scored points, and it wouldn't have been that many fewer than then, and that probably would have made him feel bad. So I just didn't want to do that to anybody.
All right, here we go. Drivers are
God.
out on track. Look at it.
Ugh. I made
Like I said,
myself ill saying all that.
half the field's going to be in the booth tonight. Almost half.
Yep.
David in the top 3, calling it right now. Maddie says, "Wouldn't that be awesome? I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it."
7th to 3rd, very doable. Might need a little bit of craziness to happen, but I mean, the 2 McLaren drivers are starting near each other, and they're a little. They've become like magnets recently, and anything could happen.
That's
Like I
true.
said, if they'll if we don't go into this, intimidated by Ferrari Nut and the speed he had in the qualifying session, to get off to a good start and get aggressive with him, anything can happen. We have seen that he can be forced into a mistake, but he has been very on point the last 3 or 4 races so far this season. But maybe he's not expecting it. Maybe he's feeling a little confident. He's feeling confident. He's probably telling everybody in the party how to drive and about how awesome he is. So we'll see if maybe one of these drivers gets up the guts to send it in there on him into turn 1, maybe turn 2, into the turn 3, somewhere into one of these corners, and maybe turn the race on its ear.
See what happens, but I hear these guys. Oh,
Oh,
did you just see what? Did you
I
just see
just
what
saw
I
what I
just saw?
saw. Yeah, he got might have been hitting the brakes there. Maybe had a lot of rear brake in the car. I mean, that's usually how you have to run these setups, near 50%, even on the front and rear brake. Not sure if that's exactly what happened, but definitely seems like it might be.
Let's just hope that's it for him. I know others might disagree, but we're going to be waiting for these lights as we head on over to the start of Silverstone here for 26 laps. Ferrari Nut will be on pole, leading us off, and here we go. The lights are out here at Silverstone. We are on our way for 26 laps, and already 2 by 2 into the first corner for P2.
Yeah, for right now, with a decent start, Scarface was able to stay alongside of him, but didn't send it in there to keep it alongside of him. Now he might lose that second spot to Gale Force as they are working side by side. The whole field, minus the green car, on top of each other down the middle straight.
On board with MJ Seal sitting P5, and you can just see the curbs and how it upsets that car. He got a little wiggly out there, but manages to hold it underneath him as he goes side by side with his teammate Gale Force. He takes over that 4th spot, and you got Jacob in front of him sitting P3. Scarface gonna be in 2nd, and Ferrari Nut, you can see him already putting a gap over the field.
Ooh, Scarface goes a little bit wide out of the pitch straight, down through the S's, Baggett's and Meckins and whatever their names are. They're gonna head down to the second DRS zone on the racetrack, and yeah, field on top of each other.
All right, now since we do have less drivers tonight, I feel like the racing is still going to be extremely tight. Is that going to put more pressure on these drivers to try to get a good finish since there are less, or are we going to see it more laid back?
In smaller races, I always feel a lot looser. There's a lot less dirty air around. Feeling a lot less pressure from behind. Everyone kind of seems to take it easy, so you can take care of your stuff a little more. I've always felt that these races that we get in, this is usually what happens. Like late back in the NASCAR heat days, we would have those late season races that would maybe have only like 8 or 9 or 10 people in them, and they feel a lot more laid back. You can take care of your car, take care of your stuff, just race the racetrack, and have a little bit more fun when you got into those battles because there weren't, so many other factors out there on the racetrack.
See the strategy right there. Let's take a look at the tire, and man, it's pretty well divided. We have Ferrari not the only one on hard tire compound. We have 3 drivers on medium and 3 on soft, so I'm a little surprised with the amount of drivers on soft tires, but for those guys, I would imagine, Jordan, that they're going to be on 2 stops tonight.
From what I was seeing, it looked like that might be just the one-stop strategy. If they're trying softs, then maybe that means softs to mediums or softs to hards at some point in this race. I would imagine they're going to go from the softs to hards, but I think this place isn't majorly hard on tires. I don't feel like there's a lot of speed, a lot of straights, but if they're comfortable with it, if they can make it work, they can make it work. I think everyone is going to be on a one-stop strategy, though.
Fair enough. Ferrari not gets the fastest lap so far, and it's already almost to a 2.5 second gap over second place. And you can just see that smoke going behind him. Jacob X99 in second currently, and he's got a 2-wide race going on directly behind him. It's going to be Scarface and MJ Seals. Take a look at this. That is going to be MJ to his side, Scarface on his outside here. You can see these guys still trying to squeeze it through the track, and MJ is able to take that 3rd position. And I was talking to Scarface before the race, and he says, I just feel like I'm making some mistakes every race here. At least once a race, I feel like I'm spinning out or just getting super loose. And he is a driver that is trying to get used to no traction control. So it is quite the adjustment, and he is newer to it. But man, I feel like he's just done a solid job so far this season.
He's done a good job kind of sliding back here, though. Leaf just unable to get around. And we've seen these spots flip-flop. I think we're going to continue to see that all race long. Jacob's sort of gotten a bit of a lead on this pack, but MJ Seals staying in touch. And MJ Seals, didn't have the most pace in the world when he immediately started in this league, but the last couple of weeks he has really come on strong, and tonight sitting in a podium spot early on in this race.
Yeah, he definitely has. His speed has increased, and let's hope he does well tonight. I think it's very doable for him. Gale Force, he's had a lot of speed, but currently sitting P6. These guys are on top of each other, so anything can happen. And I know that they're going to, switch positions quite often tonight. But I think we're going to see him get up through the field. Sober David, he's right there in that group again. So anything can happen. These spots will guaranteed change throughout the night.
And Jacob had actually gotten out of DRS range and then had a big slide earlier in the lap that allowed MJ Seals to get back into DRS range and use it down the middle straight, both looking a little uneasy off of the corners. Jacob pretty solid there as they start the S's, both of them working their way through. Meanwhile, side by side, it looked like back between Gale Force and Scarface.
Watching Gale Force in that blue machine right there. He's got Scarface right behind him and along with Sober David. So a nice little pack right here, and in front of him is another pack that they are racing in. But these guys just on top of each other. Meanwhile, Ferrari Nut, he has gotten away up to 3.5 seconds now, and he's already headed to lap 5 of 26. So he is well on his way and in the purple from Sector 3.
Yeah, four laps completed, and he's put down about a second a lap as far as the gap goes to the rest of the field. Scarface, meanwhile, he started on the inside of that, or in second on the front row. Since that early kind of lift he had to have into turn 1, he's kind of slowly fallen back. Maybe that car not that great on the full fuel, on the hard tires. He's going to have to continue to just kind of survive here and wait for this race to come back to him, as he is still within DRS range of this little train. But yeah, MJ Seals is reeling in Jacob for second.
These guys just headed through the carousel into Sector 2 and coming around the corner. Yeah, a lot of these guys looking loose here. We'll see as they head into Sector 3 shortly, but you can see Ferrari Nut, he is currently made it there. But yeah, some of these corners in Sector 3, I know that the drivers were a little concerned about and how tricky it is, and a couple of curbs that they have to watch. So I haven't seen issues yet. We've seen a couple of drivers get loose, but no spins or anything so far.
Yeah, no major slips no spins, just a few minor slips and slides. Ferrari Nut 94 with the fastest lap of the race with a 130.6. Meanwhile, Jacob bouncing over the curbs through the final chicane. That's allowed MJ Seals to come even closer, now under 4/10 between the two.
Now, if we get MJ, isn't that his first time in the booth? I mean, obviously, we have so many laps left, but that would be the first time in the booth for him, correct?
Possibly, but it really looks like you're trying to set a flag for him to crash here.
We do not want to give the commentators jinx here, so, I'll refrain. But just curious here. Leaf Justin in 4th, Gale Force in 5th, Scarface 6th, and Sober David in 7th. These guys still on top of each other, though. You can see the battle. These guys just going back and forth with it. Lap 6 of 26 as we are in Sector 2. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about David, though. Starting to lose that group, about 0.6 behind. That can change, and DRS hopefully will catch him up. He had a nice corner, a couple of corners there, caught up a little bit, but a long line.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're that last driver in the DRS train, if you lose the DRS, you're going to lose a ton of ground to the drivers in front of you. And so you want to hang in there, all of them on top of each other, going through this final chicane. Our 2nd through 6th, you can cover them with a blanket.
You definitely could. Faded, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Shorter field tonight, but the excitement still on track. I mean, wherever we go, it does not matter. These guys are just on top of each other. Extremely clean driving, but man, take a look at that as these guys are just using every piece of the track. I just love the lines. I don't know, there's just something so unique and special about F1 and the lines that they take and just how it flows. It's just, I think it's really cool. Gale Force currently sitting P5 right behind Leaf Justin. These guys just again on top of each other. I see Jacob kind of going in and out up there. I don't know if these drivers are seeing that, but a little concerning if you're near him. But MJ just having a very consistent run so far. He looks pretty solid. I really like what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like Jacob is losing a whole lot of pace. I think he's still out there. Meanwhile, leaves Justin to the inside of MJ Seals. Maybe a little contact, got really close. Seals gonna have the preferred line here, but now Justin has the preferred line. Now Seals has the outside to get the run off, but they make a little bit of contact, and that's going to, Justin gets loose.
Almost had it, but MJ took it back. McLaren teammates once again, and then Justin takes it over. He's going to be in third, so McLaren teammates second and third, respectively. We have Gale Force right behind, so he was able to capitalize on that. But MJ Seals falls back to sixth. Did I give him the jinx, Jordan?
I'm not sure if he thought he might have been at fault for something there, because it almost seemed like he
Backed off.
conceded the position
Yeah.
to Justin in the corner, and that cost him a couple of spots. I mean, I really didn't feel like that was,
No, I
he
don't
did
think he
anything wrong
did.
there. They made some slight contact at a couple of points, but I thought it was pretty fair. But I don't know if he had an issue or if he conceded the position. But if he did concede the position, I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah, it definitely cost him some spots and time, but we still have plenty of both to get that back. But Ferrari not already up to almost 9.5-second lead over Jacob, who's running out there in second. Some great points so far, but here we go. Another battle for P3, and that's going to be Gale Force and Leaf Justin. Gale Force makes a nice move over Leaf Justin. He's going to move up to third currently. We talked about being a little surprised that he was in the back of the pack, and here he is up to P3. And we know he's a fast driver out here in F1, and you see him on podium so far.
Yeah, MJ is starting to press. He got real loose. He's going to fall back, and now he's in danger of falling out of this train. Jacob had, for a moment, been able to get out of it, but the clean air afforded to Gale Force by that gap has allowed him to catch up to Jacob. Only 6 tenths now separate them as they go into the first DRS zone of the race course.
You can see him kind of struggle throughout these corners. I don't know if some of the curbs are giving him fits, but definitely fishtailing a little bit, trying to control that car, keep it underneath him. But man, I hope this is not the start of a trouble race for him, as he was just so consistent earlier on. And I know he was saying in the party beforehand, saying, I'll probably be last. I probably won't do very well. But I think we'll see him back up there.
As long as he can keep it up, and now he's losing a little bit of ground. Meanwhile, Gale Force is going to be in range of Jacob here as he goes wide in the final part of the S's. Gale Force is going to have an option here. Jacob a little defensive, goes the middle, kind of gives Gale Force an opportunity to take whichever lane he wants. Jacob pinches him a little to the outside. They go side by side. Gale Force now at the inside lane. Can he outbrake Jacob? No, he can't.
Wow, what a nice run by Jacob there. He had all that momentum going through the corner. Gale Force really holding on to the curb there and trying to keep it nice and tidy, but Jacob using every piece of the track that he can. Even going too wide, he was able to use that momentum and get around, take back that P2 spot. But man, these guys are nose to tail. Take a look at it. Gale Force just on top of Jacob, putting the pressure on him. These guys really testing the limits, and Jacob trying to defend that spot. As they head into the corner, he's going to go down underneath. A little bit of contact perhaps, as now Gale Force is on the outside and Jacob has a nose out.
Yeah, kind of lulled Jacob to sleep there into the braking zone. Looked like he was going to go to the outside or maybe concede, and then had a late dive. Took Jacob by surprise. That led to the momentum in the next couple of corners being in favor of Gale Force. He was able to take that position away, and now he needs a clean set of S's, or else it'll be Jacob with that opportunity to make that pass in the DRS zone.
Probably not 3-second time penalty. Not going to be enough to affect him as of yet. He's got 12.8 second lead.
With a 12.8 second lead, he's pushing hard enough to give himself penalties.
Yeah, wild times out here, man. Stacka, what's up? I hope you're doing well. He says side by side. You can't do that. And yet they did. He says good defensive move into Vale to hold on. Yeah, these guys are... they're characters, man. A lot of hard racing, very clean.
Has gone to pit road here. He'll be the first driver to pit, get off the softs. I imagine he'll go to the hard hards, maybe the mediums, or nope, the
Take a
hards.
look. Yeah, I would imagine Hard's trying to. Do you think he's going to be able to make it the rest of the way, though?
Absolutely, yeah. I think he can.
Okay.
If you can go 10 laps on softs and 16 on the hards, definitely doable. Honestly, I think the mediums wouldn't have been out of question if he was getting that decent tire wear, but he had sort of fallen off of that group. I think he didn't like the way the handling on that car changed. So the
Yeah.
hards probably the right option there.
No, I agree. I definitely would have put it on the hard to try to go the rest of the race here because he was struggling on the softs. But take a look at this. Gale Force really starting to put a gap over Jacob, just over a second. And then Jacob, he's got a lot of drivers directly behind him. He's got his teammate Leaf Justin from McLaren,
Ooh.
just
Oh.
0.5 behind. What do you see, Jordan?
Oh, Jacob going wide, almost losing it. No penalty, though. I've seen him go over that line a few times. I think he's going to let his teammate go by here. Jacob really seems to be struggling, especially on corner exit. I think he's burned up those rear tires.
Yeah, it seems like the drivers that we saw take the softs struggling a little bit now.
Oh,
We're going to see him catch right back up to Justin as he makes a mistake and hits the curb. He's going to go into the wall. Wow. Caution sector 3 for Leaf Justin.
Yeah, that's something that I always that always kind of happens to me is when somebody lets me go, you feel that pressure to move on. Like you don't want to mess up, you don't want to slow each other down because that's the only reason you let someone go is to
Right.
concede the position without losing time. And I think Justin kind of felt that pressure to get going and get a little distance between him and Jacob so as not to slow his teammate down any more than he had to by letting him go. And he blew the chicane and then trying to make some speed with a big mistake in the final corner. And honestly, Jacob did an excellent job to dodge that accident.
Sure did.
Riding on board with him.
Yeah, he's under attack right now, too. Or was, I should say. Scarface has made the move for P3. He has made an overtake right there. Justin still going to be P5 as MJ has gone in and Sober David also went in. So these drivers a little bit further behind, but Sober David 0.5 behind MJ Seals and Stacka. I wish I could do a replay. I hope one day they bring it because that is definitely replay worthy with how Jacob missed that and a teammate. So, but here we go. A battle for P3 once again. And, oh, no, not anymore. Scarface, he goes on in.
Yeah, Jacob is hit
Or
pit
Jacob,
road.
I should say.
Yeah, Jacob is hit pit road. I think most are. I guess he's only the second driver to hit pit road. Him and, or no, he's the third because Silver David is who is also come to pit road.
All right, let's take a look at these tires, see what everyone's doing. Most drivers on the mediums, and then Ferrari Nut and MJ are going to be on the hards. Ferrari Nut, 12-lap-old tires, along with Gale Force, who is on the mediums, Scarface, and Justin.
Yeah, I believe Jacob was one of those that started on the softs, so he goes from soft to medium, and seeing as how a lot of these drivers are going to be able to go 13 laps, he's going to try 14 on that set of tires, which seems modestly doable, even though he was struggling mightily, it seemed like, with the rear grip toward the end of that run.
All the shenanigans from the last lap has definitely switched things up and separated these drivers quite a bit. We have Gale Force, who is 16 seconds behind Ferrari Nut. He's got Scarface 3 seconds behind, Justin 12 seconds, and then his teammate not too far behind. So this is going to be the closest spot right here. And then 6th and 7th of Sober David and MJ Seals. All three of these drivers just right there.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think Justin has effectively eliminated himself from this race as far as a podium position goes. Gale Force hits pit road. I think he has sort of cemented himself in the second position with his ability to kind of separate himself from that DRS train at the beginning. He's going to put on the softs here. He's going to go for some real speed to end this race. Can he make them last? That'll be an interesting thing to watch, thing to monitor here, as unless he is trying a two-stop strategy. But I believe the battle will be for third, and it should be between Silver David, Jacob, and MJ Seals, who are on top of each other.
Man, you guys in chat, Juice, what's up? I hope you had a great stream. Thank you so much for the raid. Party of 50. How about that? That is crazy. Beckers, thank you for the follow. I hope you guys had a great night, great stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's insane. Yeah, we're out here, F1, round 10 here at Silverstone. Absolutely amazing race. A shorter field tonight, but the racing has been intense, and the last few laps have shaken things up a little bit. Real, how you doing? All right, this is going to be our next closest battle. Sober David, Jacob, MJ Seals. We've seen these guys all throughout the field. MJ was at the front, has fallen back. Soft tires just really wore out, and he was struggling with handling. Jacob making a move over Sober David. That's going to put him P5. Gale Force, though, I'm kind of curious. Will he be able to catch him? He's going to be, almost 4 seconds ahead. You can see him up ahead there. Juiced, I appreciate it. How was your racing? What'd you guys do tonight? I appreciate you guys. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Ferrari Nut has such a huge interval, 21-second lead over Scarface. Scarface, he was talking about struggling, but here he is, P2, and he's got a huge gap between him and Justin. So currently he is safe.
He still has to pit, though. Him and Justin have not yet pit, and Justin had to spin a little bit ago. Scarface is, it seems, putting a little bit of a gap on the McLaren, so I believe he seems to have some good pace at the moment. I think it's gonna be a battle for third, though, once this all kind of settles itself out, with Gale Force putting him a pretty hefty gap between himself and Jacob.
Fair enough, yeah. Repeat, what's up? How are you? He says, I barely hear the game or JMac. Let me know. When you're on this camera view, yeah, I honestly, the cars are so quiet, but when you're on board, it gets much louder, as you see. Juice says, I raced a lot of stuff, got both IR and SR gains road. So it's a good night. Jacob, penalty for him, 3 seconds. We also have Ferrari Nut, 3-second penalty, which will not affect him in any way, but we're gonna have to keep our eye out on Jacob. He's also, as we mentioned earlier, having some technical difficulties with machine tonight, aka his seat lost a bolt somewhere, and so we'll see how that affects him, if it does at all. Hopefully not.
Yeah, might have to put the new kid to work on repairing that if he gets the opportunity, but really curious to see how long these guys are going to go on these medium tires. Obviously, tire wear not much of a factor. I think they're all trying to hold out to see if they get that safety car and get an opportunity. I think Ferrari Nut's just going to go as long as he can and then put on some softs and put down a hot lap. I think that's the goal for him at the moment.
Absolutely.
But with Scarface and especially with Justin, I think now Scarface hits per road. I think Justin's just going to go until the car won't drive at all and then come to pit road. That's really his only opportunity to flip-flop this race back in his favor.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Pit road is actually very long here. How much time does that cost? Is it going to be something significant here?
The pit road, the run-up on the entry to pit road is pretty long, but the speed starts kind of deep in it. It's before you get to the corner, but it's pretty deep, and also it cuts that whole chicane area, so it's a little bit shorter, and it cuts that first corner just a tiny bit. So distance-wise, it's shorter, so it's really not that big of a time loss as you might think.
Leave Justin 40 seconds behind our leader, Ferrari Nut, who is still out there on original tires. And I agree with Jordan. He says that he thinks he's just going to go ride it out as long as you can, then head on over to the soft tire compound. I agree. At that point, see how long it can last and make your way. And here he goes, making his way on in, Jordan.
Hell, it's a little earlier than I would have thought.
Me
To put
too.
the softs on. If I mean I've so maybe he's going to the mediums here, but I think with how long all these tires are lasting, we'll see what he's gonna put on, and it's the mediums.
Mediums,
So a
all right.
very
So
basic strategy out of somebody with a 30-second lead.
leave Justin. You can see Gale Force right behind him here. Another battle might be brewing up, and Gale Force, we've seen him very, very strong. Justin looks like he's defending his spot just a little bit here, and man, Gale Force all over the curb. I want to go on board with Gale Force. It looks like Justin get a little loose going through that corner, but here we go on the straight heading into the first corner. See what he can do. Can he make that pass? He's going to try to take a look, guaranteed. Heading around, going to be going into Sector 2. These guys are just on top of each other. Heading down the straight, another DRS zone right here. I have a feeling we're going to see that pass being made. Here we go. Gale Force able to secure that second spot, but Justin not going to let that go for too long. I guarantee we're going to see that battle continuously going back and forth.
13 laps difference in the tires. I don't think Justin has as much fight in that car as he would want. Gale Force on the soft tires, Justin on much older medium tires. He's going to watch Gale Force pull away here. He's going to work as hard as he can to stay within DRS range, but it doesn't look like that's going to be meant to be, as he is 1.2 seconds going through the, well, yeah, I think it gave it to him anyway, even though he was pretty far back when he hit the line.
Stack is saying Justin is going to be a sitting duck unless he gets a great exit. And he did. Yeah, I think with those older tires, we're going to see him coming in. He usually likes staying out as long as possible. I haven't really seen Justin come in early on any track. He usually is one of those that takes it till he can't any longer. Teammates McLaren third and fourth. Gale Force going to be up there in P2. He did join late this season, but has had phenomenal runs, and currently with P2, another one tonight here at Silverstone. Justin, P3, that would be his second podium of the season, I do believe. Jacob sitting fourth. Scarface, he is out there P5, having a very, very solid run. Sober David in 6, about almost half a second back. And MJ Seals about 5 seconds back, sitting P7. Only 2 drivers, though, with a penalty, 3-second time penalty. There's been a couple of races this season where you've seen them really stack up. I mean, I'm talking 21 seconds, but I was not expecting that to be here.
We've seen some races where the leaderboard was pretty lit up with penalties. Gale Force 17 seconds behind Ferrari. Now it was down to 128 on the board. Really quick lap time out of him. But before too long, the battle for the podium is going to be between Jacob Scarface and Sober David. Now David's kind of fallen out of DRS range of Scarface. We'll see how long this takes for for Jacob to get by Justin. Justin concedes the spot. Now, that puts Scarface in a really difficult position, as now he has to get around Leaf Justin.
There he goes, taking it on the inside, hits the curb hard. Justin has to save it. They make contact. Scarface, 3-second time penalty just due to that corner right there. Man, absolutely insane. Very, very close. That could have been disastrous.
Yeah, Scarface is in a tough position. He's trying to stay with Jacob. Leaf Justin did nothing wrong there. Looked like he held his line, but it's just he's just running so much less pace than Scarface is. Scarface kind of had to make that late lunge to not run over him, and Justin just wasn't expecting it. Kind of pinched him down on that curb, and it gave Scarface the penalty and almost crashed the both of them. Just not really anyone's fault there. Just kind of
Hard
everyone
racing.
in it. Yeah, hard racing and on different strategies and just trying to make what you can out of your race.
All right, now question. It is 21 of 26. Justin is on 19 lap old tires. Do you think we're going to see him go in at this point?
I mean, he's kind of lost everything that he could have gained at this point. He's just kind of in the way. But there's only one more driver, or there's two more for to pass him. So I mean, he could go all the way until the final lap. I mean, at this point, it seems like he's gonna try to go all the way to, 2 laps to go in, put a set of softs on, and then try to maybe steal the the best lap. I think that's going to be his play here. And and honestly, with the spin, that's probably the only way he really could steal a point. So it's not a bad strategy.
Sober David is right behind Leaf Justin, and he was under attack. It looked like maybe a little contact saying, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to take your position now as he is on those older tires. We'll see what happens. But Sober David trying to take a look on the in and outside around these corners to see when and where he can make the move. And it looks like he's going to be trying to tackle this around this bin here in Sector 2 and going through the S's, but unable to complete that. But Ferrari Nut is absolutely gone. 20 seconds ahead of Gale Force. But here we go. Sober David making the move on the straights here in Sector 3. He makes the pass, goes to 5th. Justin on those older tires, fall back to P6. I agree, Stacky. He says at this point, Justin has no option but to let it ride. David, hello, I see you out there. But yeah, I think Justin has kind of made his bed and he's kind of stuck with it. Meanwhile, Scarface directly behind Jacob. Another battle that could change at any moment. And Jacob kind of getting a little squirrely out there. We'll see what he does around the next couple of corners. DRS zone right here as we head into the carousel in a second. A little bit different lines. Trying to take it wide, see if he can make anything happen here. But he's going to have a nice curve up here. Try to make something happen. Jordan, do you think we're going to see the move from Scarface over Jacob?
I mean, yeah, we'll see the attempt at it soon. It'll probably be here on the backstretch. This is kind of where in the last run we saw Jacob start to fall off on the back end of that tire life. Scarface on the softs, you kind of think maybe those tires would fall off at maybe a similar area, but yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to try here. Might not be close enough for a lunge. Don't think he has it. Nope, he's going to think better of it and wait until next lap. But the longer he goes, the worse those soft tires are going to get, and especially with being stuck in the wake of Jacob's car. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to start getting pretty desperate here, and he's going to need to be with the tire life.
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, you have different lives of tire out here, and you just have to make the move as soon as you can. And it's just difficult to know when and where that is possible. And Scarface is a newer driver on F1. He's done a phenomenal job, but man, you really have to be aggressive in trying to do that. And Jacob is a phenomenal driver also. So great battles out here for sure. But Gale Force just sitting in his own little island, P2, and Ferrari Nut, same story with him, 23 seconds ahead of Gale Force, just absolutely dominating this race as we'll be headed to lap 24 of 26 shortly.
Yeah, Scarface, I mean, at the beginning, fell back from second to basically the back of the pack. Really could have thrown his race away there, but has done a nice job bouncing back and getting into a position where he could get a podium here. But really wide through the back half of the S's, really threw off his lap time there. I don't think he's going to have the opportunity to make a lunge into this corner. He's going to have to wait again. And as the laps are ticking down, he'll only have 2 left when he gets back to the line. Actually, 3 left because Ferrari's crossed the line, and that changes the lap counter.
Yeah, Ferrari Nut in Sector 2 currently getting ready to head to the carousel. Just absolutely
Ferrari, who's
insane with
halfway to
that
Ireland
run.
by now.
Right? He's in a whole different country out here. Just absolutely insane.
I guess
Little
Scotland,
battle.
Ireland's on a island. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know my
We get
British
your
geography
point.
or my European geography.
Leaf Justin in pit lane here. Very, very surprised, but apparently could not hold on any longer. I guarantee going to go to the softs. There you have it right there. So 3 drivers out on the softs. It's just so unfortunate and definite risky strategy. And unfortunately tonight it did not pay off.
Yeah, he kind of forced himself into that position with the spin and no one else really having a mistake. This is pretty much his only way to manufacture a point that he otherwise would not have been able to get.
24 of 26. You can see we got to give Ferrari Nut some love out here. You see the map on the bottom right. There's nothing around him. He just has to worry about his race, just logging laps, and he'll bring it home. A 6-time winner here in Season 8. As long as something crazy doesn't happen, and I mean something absolutely insane has to happen for that to be the case. But Gale Force going to be P2 currently as he's coming around to lap 25.
Oh!
He's about... What'd you see, Jordan?
Oh, Jacob getting a curb and getting really loose. He looks like Scarface trying to fade on those tires. I can't tell if he's better or not. Oh, Jacob goes wide. That's going to give Scarface an opportunity to make up some ground here. If he can just stay near his wing through the slower section of corners, he could have an opportunity with the DRS to make a lunge, but he gets tight behind
Spins,
Jacob.
yeah.
That allows him to pull away.
And he kind of spun those tires too on that curb right there, cost him some time. We'll see if he can't get it done, but we are running out of time quickly. But man, still incredibly close, and he goes up really hard into the corner, has to take it wide as to not make contact. But different braking zones, it definitely shakes things up a little bit. But here we go, coming around the curve of Sector 2, I should say. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it happen, Jordan. This is just so incredibly close. They've been going at it the entire race tonight.
Yeah, he's been changing up his lines back into the carousel earlier. He got in hard, tried to late apex it, but the car just would not respond to him. He couldn't get the run that he wanted, and just through the S's, that's where Jacob was really struggling in that earlier run, but he's been so much better. But just a few slides here and there keep Scarface in the game as they are going to head to their white flag lap. Meanwhile, in Scotland, Ferrari Nut, your leader.
Yeah, he's in Sector 2 already about halfway done with this lap and on his way to the next win of the season. Just absolutely phenomenal run. We'll see if Scarface and Jacob have another battle out here, but the remainder of the drivers are pretty well separated.
Oh, man. I think that's all Jacob's going to need. Scarface got into the corner a little bit early, got right up on his wing. I don't think he could see the corner as well as he wanted to. Then tried to light up the tires and just had no grip. Meanwhile, Ferrari Nut's about to win this race.
Yeah, here he comes, Sector 3. Just a couple more corners, and we'll bring him home a winner here at Silverstone. Just a phenomenal job that he has had. Even with a 3-second time penalty, it has done absolutely nothing in taking that win away. Here he comes around the corner, and he is your winner here at Silverstone. A huge congratulations. 5-time winner in the season. Leaf Justin gets a 3-second time penalty. Gale Force, here he comes in Sector 2, going to go through the S's and into Sector 3 on his own little island here. Ooh, a caution. What is this for?
Oh, that's for Justin crashing, but
Justin.
Scarface was able to get to the outside of Jacob, but Jacob powered on the inside. One final opportunity for Scarface to take a podium spot, and he finds it.
Wow, Jacob takes that over. Scarface is going to be P4. So we got Ferrari Nut, Gale Force. Jacob is going to be rounding out your podium there. Scarface 4th. Sober David crossing the line, P5. MJ Seals coming around the final corner, P6. And Leaf Justin It's just a tough race for him tonight. He's going to bring it home P7. Man, what a race.
That was a lot of fun there for a few of the positions.
I think some
not
of
bad
these
for 7 people and one driver, half the continent away.
Right? These guys just always have such hard racing, so incredibly tight with it. No surprise. All right, a lot of these guys are not anonymous, so that's good. I can actually see them. Let's see. And I can invite anyone else, of course. So I got Ferrari Nut. Can you get...
Usually having a hard time getting Gale Force in here.
Okay. Let me just go to my friends list. I'll try to invite him that way.
What is Justin doing right now?
I don't even see Gale Force on. Rip. I know he's here. If one of you guys can... There we go. I found him. We're good.
He is breaking my car.
What a race, though. Next week. I gotta see where we're headed to next week. Take a look. We're headed to the Netherlands. All right, Ferrari Nut. 5-time winner this season. And Jacob X gets driver of the day. Let's go. He had quite the battles out there, but Ferrari Nut, man, quite the lead out there. How was your car running? I know that you said you didn't get a lot of laps in. How did it go for you?
Yeah, not a lot. Try none. That was literally the first set of laps in qualifying that I turned here all week and just was immediately there. It's just something I have with this place, but yeah, I was just out there running the car with limits, clearly. I mean, I almost had 2 time penalties there, just not really paying attention and trying too hard just because I was so far ahead. I was like, yeah, let's just see right at the end if I can reset fast lap, and I was 13 thousandths slower than it with a lap to go. So, just out there kind of goofing off at that point. But,
all right, well, we know that you have a nice lead in the driver standings and constructor standings. Do you see a lot of competition heading forward with Z and Polish both not showing up, which are right behind you in driver standings?
If they don't continue to show up, then, it's pretty well done. I mean, I think so. Just basically run a few more weeks and then take a vacation.
Next week, we are headed to the Netherlands. How do you feel about that?
More of the same, more than likely. I mean, I'm obviously going to have to turn a few laps there. It's a little more complicated than Silverstone and everything. But, it's a good track. It's a fun track.
All right, fair enough. Well, enjoy that win. You had a phenomenal race out there. It was fun watching you. But, man, I think I didn't see any mistakes from you. So that consistency is just very, very strong. And we've talked about how at the beginning of the season that we saw some mistakes being made and a lot of hard racing contributing to some spins. But, man, that has been cleaned up through the latter part of the season. So just huge congratulations to you.
Thank you. And it's 6 wins, by the way.
Is it 6?
5. Yep.
He corrected me. It is 6,
more,
isn't it? Yeah.
One more, and I will tie the tally from last season. So at that point, it's just stat padding at that point. I'm doing a Verstappen 2023, just stat padding.
Jeez. All right. Yeah. 6 wins. Let's go. So good job on that.
Thank you.
All right, Jordan. We got P2 in here. It's going to be Gale Force having a fantastic race out there.
Yeah, Gale Force at the beginning of the race worked his way through the DRS train and was able to stretch his way away from it, and then seemed like smooth sailing the rest of the way all to a second place finish. Talk about your night.
It started a little rough. I had a decent start, and then I think there was just a little bit of a lag bump in like turn 3 between me and Scarface that dropped me down the order a bit. And then from there I was just trying to be patient. Eventually people started falling towards me and just taking the first opportunities to just jump by them. Then after the pit stops, I went as hard as I could for like a lap or two just to try and make sure I had a gap behind, and then try to just hit consistent times so that I didn't burn the softs away too much. And it was pretty relaxed from there.
Yeah, you mentioned burning those tires. You did a lot of laps on the softs, and you actually have, I think, a couple of times gone a lot longer on a softer set of tires than other drivers. Again, that's something you're comfortable with, your ability to save tire.
I think it's just knowing when to push and when to try and just back it off and save them, because like if you're in a pack, obviously you have to fight, you have to try and make the moves where you can. But like last week where I'm just trying to recover from an accident, or this week where I've got nothing really to gain by pushing, it's just sort of knowing to back off the pace and keep the tires under me.
That is Gale Force. Ran a nice, speedy, and smart race and came home in P2. Back to you, Frozen.
All right, we got Jacob running out the podium. What a race for you tonight. Also, driver of the day. A lot of hard racing between you and several other drivers. Take us through your race and how it went.
Well, it was fun because the car behind me on the start, I forgot who it was. It could have been Seals, got past me. So we were battling off the jump. I didn't expect to run soft medium as a strategy, but it seemed like the softs could go to the halfway point. So I was just going to run halfway and see how that went. And it was a lot of fun, I'll say. First half and second half, just going back and forth between people. So not a boring race, but I was waiting to see how things were going to settle out, hoping I'd be running top 3. I'm not sure how Gale got the gap ahead of me, like when that happened exactly, because I know I was second early in the run, but I was sliding on the exit of some of the corners, so I don't know if I can just attribute it to just being a little bit like rusty at the track. But the car felt good, and being able to battle was a good time, so I actually had, I would say, a great race. The penalty I got was not a real penalty. I got 2 warnings that were just like lazy on my part, but I was on a straightaway and the game just said I had a penalty, so I was really hoping it didn't like matter, because I didn't know how I was going to prove that outside of just my word. But thankfully Scar got a penalty behind me, and he had softs. I thought he could have got around, but I saved enough ERS to be fast on the straightaways whenever he had DRS, so I would say it worked out well.
Now, we talked about on stream the difference in having more drivers and less. Does that put more pressure to kind of get through traffic and say, hey, I really think I can get to that position, so I'm going to be more aggressive? Or is it more laid back and you just see what happens?
I would think if you got more aggressive and did something out of the norm, that could jeopardize you more than it's worth. So as long as you have battles and you're around people, it felt pretty much the same to me. The only difference is you lose some competition, and we're running a higher position, so that's cool.
Fair enough. All right,
Yeah,
I gotta ask, what was your favorite battle of the night?
Well, the end, because there were stakes. It was for 3rd position, so I didn't want to give up the spot, even though he had the better tire. I'm not sure how his tire wear was doing, but I saw him catch up to me easily, so it was Scar once again. Even though the first half it was a train, so I don't know who I exactly was battling in the first half, but it was Scar once again at the end, so shout out to him for keeping it clean. We did get close, but good battle.
It was definitely a great battle. And next week we are headed to the Netherlands, so how do you feel about that?
Oh, it's a nice track. It helps to practice there, and I haven't for some of these previous races, but we will see, because that is a fun one, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, and the final question for you, I have to say, is how'd the chair last? Did it survive the whole race?
So I got a little bit of giveaway. The right side was starting to fade on me, so I had to just adjust to the left. The left was good to go, so if I adjusted, I could kind of forget I had the problem.
There you
I would
go.
call it a minor issue, but man, that
Good
could
to
have been
hear.
bad, because I couldn't even sit at first.
Glad to hear it held out for you, and great job on the podium tonight. Really, really fun race to watch. And I see Leafy Justin got in here. I know he just loves that I just called him that. But Jordan, you want to give Justin an interview?
Do I want to give Justin an interview? Yeah, we've outside of the F1 series hauler, after watching what happened on his final lap, beating up the race-winning car, trying to make it fail tech, I guess. Was pretty strong there for most of the race, and it kind of got away from you there. And then and just talk about what was your mindset there on your cooldown lap? What was making you so angry that you wanted to beat up Ferrari Nut's car?
Oh, no comment.
Oh, fair enough.
It was his face.
All right. So talk about
while.
your race. Not exactly how you wanted that to go, but the battles at the start. Um, was the strategy there to try to steal a point with the soft tires there, and yeah, what happened?
Well, it went first from hang out as long as possible and hope to get a safety car somehow, which I figured wasn't going to happen. And then it was, let's just see how comically long we can go on these tires. And then it was like, I'm switching onto softs, so I went for it and then immediately screwed it up like right at the beginning of the lap. So it was hardly an effort. I wasn't even close.
That is Leaf Justin with a tough night and at Silverstone. I don't know what I was just trying to call it, but we'll look to be bouncing back next week. And back over to you, Frozen.
All right, I just saw another driver pop in. It's going to be Sober David, our another driver slash weatherman slash lovable driver in the league from our chat. Sober David, take us through how your race went and how it felt out there in Silverstone.
I was honestly, I was kind of surprised that I was able to stick around for the group for as long as I did at the start of the race. I was like, I think like in the mindset was at the start of the race was what the tire strategy was gonna be like. I honestly didn't expect that soft medium was gonna be an option. I think usually it's like if I'm in the back of the pack, I usually do the inverse. I do the slower tire first. And this was on the World Rose race. I felt like I should have actually done that. It was because I feel like I don't know. It was. I did all right. I felt like I did all right there. I was able to hang around with everybody, but then once everybody started spacing out a little bit with the pit stops, I tried to do an undercut, which ended up not working. Yeah, I was just trying to hang on to literally just trying to hang on to anybody with DRS to give me a chance to do something, and fortunately didn't last long enough, but it's alright, I guess.
Well, I think you had a solid race and it was super fun with the battles I saw you out there doing. How do you feel about the Netherlands?
Not as confident with that as I did in Silverstone. Definitely need to put some more time on that track. But yeah, I feel like I should do all right as long as I keep the car facing the right direction. I should have a chance.
Right, where you heard it there from Sober David. Great night here at Silverstone. Not a lot of drivers out tonight. A few of them could not show up, but next week we are headed to round 11 at the Netherlands, so it should be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to pass along the raid since we were raided in stream, so let's find a driver that we can show some love out there and pass that along. I'm trying to take a look here. A lot of drivers out. All right. are gonna go ahead and do Rick James. He's out there, and iRacing Land probably announcing, it looks like. So let's take a look. But I appreciate you guys. Be sure to show him some love. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll head on over and give him a shout out.